Okay, Steve Roberts here. I'm running for Congress. Our website is thirdpartywinner.com. We need your support. It's my 66th birthday. I'm going to explain how to fix schools in just a couple of minutes. But as I do this, as I say, I'm Steve Roberts and I know how to fix schools. That's misleading because it makes it sound like I'm an authority on everything that's schooling. And I'm not. What I'm advocating is that we have more local control. Families have more say in what happens in the classroom. Invite families into the process. And we have to have school teachers who are managers enough to be able to tell the parents who don't have the sense God gave a goose, that's all right, we got this. We do have some spots in the cleanup committee for the Valentine's Day program or whatever, Halloween. All right, so the Great Transition is the essence of realizing what we need to do to give schools the upgrade that they've needed for decades. So, I teach math, physics, and earth and space science. My first degree was engineering. I'm going to retire to a classroom. I just want to fix a few things in the system before I retire to a classroom. Love teaching math. Okay, we're born over here because we're going to say, okay, this is the way we read the chart. And then over here, I'm not going to go to death. I'm going to go to high school graduate. So where we start off in infancy is we are helpless, right? So we start off as a helpless infant. And then we start learning things, mostly from mom and dad or family. And so family's important in this whole thing. But over here, we want to finish with a self-assured high school graduate. I think that's the essence. That's what we're shooting for here. So there's this great transition. And with respect to our schools, there's a great transition between, as we go around here, let's say this is K, 1, 2, 3. We go over this arc this way. So this is senior year of high school. Junior, sophomore, freshman, and so forth. This is not going to be academic. This is going to be exploratory. We're not going to worry about academics as kids get out of third grade. We're going to let them explore. That's when you allow them to have the electronics, the computers, the calculators, the apps. You do it from here on. You don't have electronics here. This is going to actually look a lot like the one-room schoolhouse because in the future, our primary teachers will literally be K through 3. You won't have teachers in the future say, I teach second grade. No. Primary teachers will teach K through 3 and they will loop, meaning they will stay with students a second or third or maybe even a fourth year. We can do that when we have great teachers, but you can't do it with lousy teachers. I remember serving on the State Board of Education, realizing good managers, that is to say good principals, don't let lousy teachers loop. Because it's the kiss of death. You put a kid in first and second grade with a lousy teacher, that's bad news. Bad news for the kid, bad news for everybody. And we do have some teachers who aren't very good at it because of the system. It's about 1 in 7, actually. And it depends where you go. If you go to a hardscrabble school, tough neighborhood, it might be 1 in 5, 1 in 4. Teachers just aren't very good. There's a lot of turnover. There's a lot of pieces to this thing. If you go to a nice, pastoral, bucolic, well-managed, well-funded suburban school, that 1 in 7 lemon factor might drop to 1 in 12 or 1 in 15 or even less. Depends where you go. We can fix a lot of this stuff. And this is the recipe to do it. So, in primary school, the primary responsibility for learning rests with the teacher. It's the teacher's responsibility to make sure that Johnny and Susie learn his or her shapes and colors and letters and days of the week and names of the months and this real basic stuff that we want everybody to have so they can build on it. And we have different rubrics for the ordinal nature of first grade, second grade, third grade work. And it's going to be managed from the state level down. We need to get rid of the federal Department of Education. And while we're at it, get rid of the federal free reduced lunch program. And I explain how we can do that and why we should do that. Then we have this exploratory period. And this is where we do the remediation for those 8-year-olds, or maybe 9-year-olds, or maybe even 10-year-olds who have not yet learned to read well and they don't really understand numbers yet. Here's where you do the remediation. You do it right here in this exploratory period. This is when you can start introducing the electronics. You let kids explore with science. Some kids are just going to naturally gravitate toward technical subjects, and some are going to want to do fine arts, and some are going to want to kind of do their own thing, and some are going to want to do music, and some are going to want to just kind of think about stuff and maybe gravitate more toward poetry. You don't know what kids want, but some kids, when they get here, they say, I want to be a dentist just like Uncle John. And so they're ready to enter secondary school. Secondary school will start as soon as the child is ready for it after this exploratory period, which could be as much as 2 years or as short as 2 months. Okay? There's a lot to figure out yet, but this is the basic structure. Secondary school will begin earlier than it has in most areas over the last several decades. A lot of schools begin secondary in 6th grade. It really begins here. So this is really the distinction between primary and secondary. Secondary begins with this exploratory period and remediation. Now, is this going to work for every child? Nope. Will there be exceptions? Yep. Do we have special needs kids? Yep. So don't think that this is etched in stone for every child, because you have to put the child ahead of the system. That's why it's not the world according to Steve Roberts, but this will be a much better blueprint for helping us get to where we need to get. And if you watch some of the videos we've made over the last several years, you can link to them through our website. We've got a button there to send you to our YouTube channel. You'll start to see that I am absolutely dedicated to make education work well for any family, for any child, for any student who wants it, regardless of income, regardless of ethnicity, regardless of ethnicity, and regardless of zip code. I'm serious. We can take a bite out of racism. We can improve our politics. We can shore up our values. We can do a lot of really good things. But we have to agree that it's a good idea to teach children the basics, and I would submit, teach these children here through the government with government oversight that it is wrong to lie, it is wrong to cheat, and it's wrong to steal. We need to teach children just a handful of values here. Those are a few. Everybody's important. Human life is sacred, unless you just are really turned off by the word sacred because it smacks of the pulpit. We need to teach children that everybody's important, that everybody matters. And when we do that, we can have the country that we want. And we can handle whatever big ag, big tech, big government, big pharma throws at us. We can have the shining city on the hill, actually. I'm Steve Roberts, and I approve this message. Thanks.